Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for all of you for watching the first episode that we did. Now we're going to be starting the second episode and hopefully bringing you guys more interesting topics and content that we're going to be discussing on this podcast. Shan, I don't know if you want to add a few words to this.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Thanks for everyone who's looked at the first podcast, had a quick listen, even if it was like a minute long. But yeah, we want to do much more content in the future. We're going to be posting more clips on TikTok and Instagram, so you get an idea of what kind of things we're speaking about. And today, I just wanted to kind of start off with the topic of focus and how to kind of achieve that in a study setting, especially when a brother's actually going to be taking his exam soon, and in just general settings as well. So what do you think about focusing?
I don't know, if you look closely, I might be starting to get some gray hairs now from all the stress.
Yeah.
Basically, I know it's exam season for a lot of people, both at university and especially people who are doing like A-levels and GCSEs. So now it's like kind of the stressful time for them. So I'm sure like a topic like this would be very useful for you guys to get some tips from someone who's done this years and years over and over again, literally since A-level and throughout my 6 years at university. So it's been at least 8-9 years consistently going through that exam mode, the exam stress. So I've kind of developed a few tips and ideas that could help you. And I think we're going to start off with the first topic on how to actually focus on getting your tasks done, first of all.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of ask you what you think is kind of like a couple of important factors when trying to achieve that focus state, especially when you're studying, because that's kind of what you're doing at the moment as well.
Yeah, I would say it's quite simple, actually, simpler than people may think. It's if you create less distractions in the first place, you're going to be able to focus more anyways. So the problem is that a lot of people try to focus whilst doing a lot of different things, be it being active on social media, for example, trying to maintain, going out with friends whilst during their exam season, all of that. That creates a problem because now you're trying to balance everything when realistically what you need to be doing is avoiding all of these distractions in the first place. So for example, for me, I use a lot do not disturb, and there's the new like the focus feature on the iPhone and Apple devices, which is sick. Yeah, so I use that and that's really, really useful. But even a more effective method is literally grab your phone, put it in another room, and then go do your 1 hour of work, whatever that may be. That way, when you're doing your hour of work, the likelihood of you getting up, most of us are lazy people. So the likelihood of you getting up to that living room, wherever it may be, just to pick up your phone, just to see a notification, is unlikely going to happen. So that keeps you kind of really laser focused. And regarding social media, I mean, Shine, you've got quite a decent amount of following. So I'm sure my personal opinion, I would deactivate, but for some people, they need to keep that active. So you're going to have to assess, the benefits and cost of what you're doing. If it's just a personal social media, maybe it's best that you deactivate just for that time being. Sharon, I don't know what you think of these kind of ideas so far.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's quite an interesting, couple of points that you raised there. Going back to kind of what I think, especially because focus can be in different ways. So if it comes to like a sporting performance type of thing. So let's say, for example, I have a client and they want to lose 20 pounds because they're about to get married, for example. You can't think of the end goal of, okay, look, I need to get that 20 pounds lost for the marriage. Yeah, whatever the goal is. They need to think about focusing on the specific set goals, set task within that kind of big goal. If you just think, so if you're just thinking about, okay, you know what, I'm going to lose 20 pounds no matter how I do it, I need to lose 20 pounds and then I'll be fine. And you're not really going to be able to focus and know exactly what you're doing within that process. So that makes sense.
It's kind of like you're breaking it into chunks and you're focusing on each chunk and tackling it one at a time. That way you can like just be laser focused on that specific task. Like I want to do, I'm just being hypothetical here, like 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 2-mile run today. That's it. That's my only focus. Do that the next morning, a new focus on a new task ahead. And that would lead to the bigger goal, I think is what you're trying to say, correct?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So going back to what you were talking about in terms of studying, what would you do in, let's say, for example, you've got a 4 to 6 hour study session. Yeah. What are your tips for someone who needs to put in the hours in? What would you suggest?
There's two things that can be very, very useful to kind of handle in that many hours. Because especially during A levels, if I'm honest with you, I was studying up to 13 hours a day. That was the peak of I've ever studied in my life, even till this day. It was crazy.
I don't think I was studying at all.
Exactly. The negatives of it actually damaged my back because of my posture, and I didn't
Okay.
exercise at all. So I ballooned up to 100 kilos. So
Wow.
yeah, and I did manage to lose it after like maybe 2.5, 3 months. I dropped down 73 kilos, which is like a
Yeah.
huge drop. Yeah. So my first advice is it doesn't matter how important it is, you need to stay balanced. So definitely, definitely exercise. I know your mind's going to play that trick of, oh, I'm not going to go training for an hour and a half, 2 hours because that's going to waste my time. That's a lie, because every time you skip that training, you're going to have to end up wasting time somehow. And it's always best to kind of mentally distract yourself through training, physically move your body a bit, and come back. Then you're going to be so much more relaxed. Another point that is quite, I think it's quite viral now-ish amongst people who are like really into productivity, is the Pomodoro technique.
I've
I
heard
don't
of
know if
that.
you've
Yeah,
heard of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me
Yeah,
about
go on. What have you heard of about it? Go on, tell me.
it. I just know that you like 40-20 or 30-30 or something like that, like specific breaks that you have between the thing. But I want you to kind of break it down for me and then tell me what you think
Basically,
about
they
it.
did some sort of research and they found out that
Okay.
kind of the optimum time to be like really laser focused is up to 25 minutes. So what the Pomodoro does is 25-minute blocks of studying and then 5 minutes off. And there's an app called Timely on the App Store for iPhone, especially on iPad. It's a sick app. You should definitely download it. And what it does is literally does a 25-minute block of work. So 25 minutes, you're laser focused, just straight up into the work. And then you take a 5-minute break. Do whatever you want, 5 minutes, walk around. Don't stay in your seat, walk around, move around, come back, another 25 minutes. And once you've done a couple of those sessions, then you could take a bit of a longer break, like an hour break, go eat, relax a bit, whatever, and come back. And trust me, this has been really, really useful, because there's no point you doing an hour and a half of work when after 30, 40 minutes, you're just not focused anymore. It's pointless. It's better to do 25 minutes of blocks where you're fully focused. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And just to kind of go back to when you said your 25 minutes, I think people need to understand that within that 25 minutes, you need to have a set thing that you're going to do for those 25 minutes. You can't just think, okay, I've got a broad topic here. Let's say we're focusing on biology. You've got different modules, whatever. You need to pick a specific section within that. Maybe it's like 2 questions that that you're not great at, and focus on that within the 25 minutes. And then that's your laser focus that you're going to be focused on within that session.
There are just to, especially people who are coming from the A-level GCSE background, there are some exceptions to this. For example, if you're doing a past paper practice, you're not going to do 25 minutes. You're going to have to finish. I used to always do it before the actual allocated time to make sure that I'm really efficient in the way I'm doing it. But for example, if it takes you an hour and 15 minutes to do the past paper, then you do the hour and 15 one go. You're going to have to do it to mimic the exam style technique.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when you're studying or like memorizing content, whatever it may be, it's best to kind of like stick to that Pomodoro technique. You should try it out and see how you feel. And linking it to, gym and fitness, for some people who are really into fitness already, maybe it's kind of like, when they say gym sessions, sometimes instead of doing 2-hour gym session where you like not focused, sometimes it's just best to do like a 30 to 45 minute of straight up like laser focus, bam, 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 do your session and you're done. You got the whole day ahead of you. I think, Shayan, you could definitely talk about that side of things.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's quite an important concept of keeping that time compact, so you don't waste it. Because if you're in the gym for 2 hours, you can have like a 5-minute break. And I guess it depends on your goals. Because if you're like a powerlifter, for example, then you're going to need longer breaks because you're working on like the maximum strength, all that stuff. But if you're just a general gym goer and you've got half an hour, focus on that half an hour and pick maybe 1 or 2 movements, and you're going to really delve into those movements, and then you're going to get the best out of the session within that 30 minutes. But what I wanted to kind of track back on was on similar to that Pomodoro thing. I've been looking at TikTok, and you have people on live, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen this person. He always does this thing called splurting. I don't know if you've heard of this before.
Flirting?
That's what it's called, splurting technique. So all he's doing, he's got a piece of paper and he's scribbling. He's scribbling like this. Okay. And apparently that's a revision technique, because what you're doing is you're
scribbling like lines, just lines.
Like he's got a topic or whatever in front of him. He's got a screen and he's splurting it in a squiggly way. But apparently,
as in he's writing it.
Yeah, he's writing it, but it's like
Oh,
squiggly. Like,
okay,
you
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
You wouldn't. He like we wouldn't be able to read it, but he
To be
can.
fair, I do
And
that.
apparently,
I'm not gonna lie, I do that. I actually
but
do. No, I legit do. And I can tell you exactly why I do that. First of
go
all,
on.
this is backed up by research already that when you
Was
write
it?
something, you're way more likely to memorize it. That's just like everyone knows that. Okay. Or actually, I don't want to say everyone knows that, but if you don't know, when you write something down by hand, you're definitely more likely to
Yeah.
memorize it. Not type, not on a keyboard. I'm talking physically write it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I
100%.
do is, because in medicine the content is humongous. So the whole concept, I'm talking about medicine specifically. So the concept of, oh, let me make notes for medicine, you're gonna make like probably 100,000 pages. Literally, that's how
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
like it's ridiculous. You will never write that much. So what I used to do is when I'm learning a specific disease, let's say, and it's got the investigations, the diagnosis, the management, the features of the disease, symptoms, risk factors, all that nonsense. Yeah. As I'm reading it and I'm memorizing it, once I've kind of like memorized it, cool, quickly on a paper, like not even the best handwriting, I'm just trying to like get the main points, just write them
Yeah.
down. And then literally when I'm done, I scrap that paper, throw in the bin. I'm not trying to keep that to revise it down the line. This is just for me to get the hand memory and the muscle memory, because when you're writing, apparently what happens, it forces your brain to slow down because your brain goes quicker than writing by a margin. So when it forces your brain to slow down, you'd have to think about it. Think about, what am I actually writing? And that's kind of similar to, I don't know if you remember back in your school days when you used to write those long essays. Your brain is going so fast and you're trying to write, but your writing is
God.
behind your brain. So then you have to pause and go like, okay, what am I even talking about? And the fact that you're kind of thinking about it, like processing it, you're way more likely to kind of remember it next time you come across the information.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. So it's pretty much similar to what you described, actually. And I think if you're someone who is a reviser right now, it's definitely
Guess I'm a
something to check
splurter,
out.
isn't it?
It might be the next technique that is gonna get you that A star.
It's actually a sick technique. I'm not gonna lie. I just didn't think of it as a thing to spread, if that makes sense. But it actually makes sense because I just do it by nature, and I never thought this is a thing to. But it's actually a really, really good technique. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The only difference
100%.
though is that some people, especially when it comes to A level, they make like these hefty written notes. Let's not kid ourselves. The chances of you going through those, and especially reading your handwriting, even if it's clear handwriting, is near zero. With these days, typing on a keyboard is going to be way quicker. So if you want to make summarized notes, type it, but use the hand technique, the splurting technique, as they call it, just to improve your recall memory. That's it. That's all we're trying to do here.
Let me tell you kind of what I did when I was at university.
Yeah.
So I had to be fair, I did decent at university. I got a first. Yeah, I don't know how, but I put in the work. But
humble shine, guys, isn't it? Humble shine.
Like, come on, like A levels and GCSEs, I wasn't that bright. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't bright at all. But once you find your passion, that's a key component as well. If you got your passion, you're definitely going to be studying harder. But anyway, what I wanted to mention is when I was doing the long revision sessions in the library, I would do a couple of things that can help me stay focused. And this is what I kind of want to close on with my kind of points and tips. I used to use chewing gum quite a lot. Don't ask me why. I want to tell you why, but it just used to help me focus. Like that fresh gum, bit of a refresher, Airwaves or Extra, whatever. That used to help me. Have a pack of them. I'll be finishing that pack in a day, just because it keeps me kind of focused, and I won't crave anything else as well. And I know it's easy to go for sugary sweets and all of that stuff, and it's easy to eat junk because you need that quick burst of energy. But the chewing gum helps.
Have you heard of the psychology behind that, or is that what you're going to go through?
No, I actually don't.
So basically, there's a research that was done that apparently, if you eat a gum, particular flavor, airway, whatever it may be, and you eat that same gum when you're in your exam, you're actually going to remember way more because it links it to that specific moment. It's kind of like, think of it hypothetically, you ate a burger, or like every time you eat a burger, you talked about a particular kind of like medical disease or something. Yeah, you're going to remember it apparently when you're doing it. That's why people used to actually eat particular things when they're studying something and then do it again in the exam. I never tried it, I don't know if that's a thing.
Maybe something obviously you don't need to, because you know what works for you now, but someone who's been struggling, definitely maybe use that technique. Alongside that, the final thing that I did, which was quite good for me, is when I took a break, I used to do a bit of mobility training, obviously, because that's what I'm about. So, get into a squat position, doing a couple of stretches, that helped me just to divert my attention to something else. And then when I'm back into the task, I know that, okay, my mind's a bit more fresher now, and I can then focus on the task that I need to ahead.
No,
Um,
that's actually that. There's a lot of like tips out there, to be fair. Like even
yeah,
recently, um, Neil Grasson, whatever his name is, that guy into astronomy and everything. The guy is everything
man,
space. He's a very
I know
famous
Brian
guy.
Cox.
No,
I know
his
Brian
name is
Cox.
Neil something, and he wears like a tie that's got the space on it and stuff. He's a very
No,
famous
no,
guy.
no.
If you guys check him out, he was recently responding to all this. That's in case like because you know how you mentioned passion, people
Yep.
might misunderstand. You are more likely to find your passion. If you find it at a younger age, that's really amazing. You're lucky, to be fair. But you're more likely to find it once you start around the university kind of stage. But for all those people
Definitely.
who are doing A level, GCSE, a lot of people go like, oh, why would I need to do maths? Why would I need to do trigonometry when I'll probably never use it in my life? That is not the concept. That's not for anyone who doesn't know. This is the answer
Yeah.
for you. That is not the reason why you do it. You're doing it to learn, to develop like literally the neuroplasticity in your head, which means like developing the connections in your head to know how to problem solve. Because you're going to encounter problems in your life, right? It may not be a trig problem, like a trigonometry or Pythagoras, or whatever it may be, but you're going to develop problems, right? The idea of developing parts of your brain to find out, okay, I have a problem, how can I solve it? That's what you're learning from GCSE and A level, how to critically think, how to analyze and solve kind of issues and memorize. All of this is what's going to be used for your passion in the future. Now, will you use some of this stuff, even trig and Pythagoras? You probably will, okay? But if you don't, that's the main thing you're taking is not the actual trig, but the actual problem solving capabilities. So that's like for anyone who might be worried that, oh, well, I probably don't want to do this in my future. Just stick to doing this, achieve the marks, and then do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean?
That was great. That was a great closing point, to be fair. And that leads us nicely onto kind of thinking about now focusing on that stress and anxiety, because that's a key concept, especially within studying, even sports performance is a big topic. And
100%.
that difference between a gold medal and a bronze medal is literally to do with psychology in essence.
Since we are two Londoners, anyone who lives in London, they just know everything about stress and anxiety. This city is a pressure pot. It's like a rat race, and it's unbelievable. The stress, the pressure that's put on even young people, people especially in the medical profession, because they have like one of the highest rates of suicide, I think, because of burnout.
Yeah, definitely one.
And I think so, guys, for anyone who doesn't know what burnout is, so burnout is kind of when you reach a level of exhaustion where you're mentally, physically, or emotionally, or it could be all three, exhausted to the point that you physically, like, you're very unwell. And some people, a lot of people actually have probably reached that point in their life where they just feel like, that's it, I'm done. Physically, I'm exhausted. Mentally, they're exhausted. Emotionally, they're exhausted. And me and Shine are going to be actually talking about a few ways you guys can reduce your anxiety, your stress, and if you're on burnout, how to prevent that from happening. So Shine, if you want to give us some of your tips, first of all, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think stress and anxiety is quite a massive topic. And obviously, if you're diagnosed with depression and all that stuff, that's more of a medical thing. And do get advice from a medical practitioner. But if you're someone who's just got
private health,
you're gonna go to a better.
Get the money ready, and I'll take care of you.
But literally, like, I think everyone probably from a day-to-day basis has some sort of stress, and stress is right. And a couple of things that I probably do that helps me is that kind of meditation, and that can be in the form of different things. Obviously, we're Muslim, so we have meditation in that sense. But if you're not religious, you can still meditate to a certain aspect.
So either pray or meditate, depending on what your choice is.
Yeah, and that meditation can be even just you sitting down for 10 minutes and trying to not even think about something and just focus on your breathing. So one thing I wanted people to like kind of maybe research into, and if they want to improve their kind of anxiety, and it's a lot of people have, is the Wim Hof method.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. It was literally on my lips. I was like, he's going to bring the Hof guy.
He's great. I don't know why, but I love that guy. He's just amazing. So definitely check him out. But if you don't know who he is, he's basically the Iceman. He does all these ice baths. He lives in the freaking cold and all of that stuff. And basically, he's got great breathing techniques, which actually do help to a certain aspect. So if that's something you're kind of experiencing, the anxiety, the stress, if it's to do with studying or it's to do with sports performance, you've got a recent game coming up, or you got like you got a powerlifting meet, or
anything making you anxious.
Yeah. So try this out and see. It actually makes a big difference. So that's going to lead nicely onto Abada's going to talk about his exams and studying and stuff. But quick tip for me, I always used to take 10 to 12 breaths before I started the exam. I always used to do that. And whenever I started, always gave myself a good bit of time just to read.
That's the key for a
double
fast
check.
test.
There you go for it.
Just those 12 breaths, yeah. If you don't do the 12, you ain't getting it. That's simple as it is. Now, but do you know what? Adding to his little breathing exercise idea, first of all, guys, if you got an Apple Watch, I don't have one, I'm a peasant. But if you have an Apple Watch, basically, there's those, I think there's the breathing app that you could use to just help you kind of take deep breaths. So if you have that, use it and you'll find that it's very useful. But for me, actually, it's very, very simple. How I used to reduce my nerves. Whether certain people are going on first dates, not me, but I'm just saying, what you actually do if you got an exam, whatever it is that's like really making you like nervous, it's actually so effective. And I made people do it so many times. They're like, damn, like I never knew this could be so powerful. All I tell them was take a deep, deep breath, hold your breath, and then squeeze your fists like this. You know how you squeeze your strength here? Like, you squeeze everything. Squeeze as hard as you can, as long as you can, maybe like 30, 40 seconds, whatever, up to a minute if you can. Depends how long you can hold your breath, but usually let's say 30 seconds, like really squeeze hard, like get like the strength, just pressure as much as you can. And when you're done, just slowly when you breathe in through your nose, obviously. And when you breathe out slowly, like literally very slowly, breathe out of your mouth, like take that breathing out as slow as you can. It will literally calm you the hell down. It's so effective. It's unbelievably effective. And that's what you have to do, in my opinion. Do it once. If you don't believe me, test it out. It will take you a total of 60 seconds to do. And you're going to be like, wow, this thing is amazing. So that's kind of like my main way of doing things. But in terms of, I suppose, anxiety and stress, like you said, meditation and prayer can really, really help. I think just being in a state of calmness and try and avoid thinking too much or overthinking about stuff, especially, in A-level and GCSE, you're going to get a lot of these so-called friends, who are going to give you notes or questions literally on the day of the exam. And all it's going to do is it's going to fluster you, actually, because they were like, oh, I found these questions, they're probably going to come in the exam. All it's doing is flustering you, because now if you start getting them wrong, you're like, oh my God, I don't feel prepared anymore. What the hell? What is this? Why am I getting everything wrong? Don't stress about this. Like, now's not the time. Now's the time for you to relax, stay focused, be in a calm mind, and then just go in the exam and just smash it. Think positively.
You always get those students or those colleagues, friends, whatever you want to call them, who always say, there's one that always says, oh, I didn't even revise, and then comes out with that A-star. I'm like, you definitely did revise. Like, why are you even
Listen, my advice is just like stay quiet, stay in your own lane. Don't BS people, basically. Don't act like, oh, I didn't revise. Like then no one's gonna really like you in that sense. Just go like, yeah, I've worked, and I'm hoping for the best. Just like be normal, basically. And yeah, just that. I wouldn't say go out of your way to tell people how much you revise and stuff, because a lot of people can be envious of you as well. So, just be very careful, be wary of that. Not everyone's out there to back you up.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to add, which is quite important with stress and anxiety, especially during exam season or sporting performance, is social media. And one key aspect is, why are you using social media? And you have to ask yourself this. For me personally, I'm using it for a promotional basis and to learn and educate myself, but to also educate others. Yeah. So I'm posting stuff regarding fitness, mobility, all these things, physiotherapy, now also starting podcasts. But I'm also going to think about, like, when people ask me, why don't I post about my personal life so much? Because that's not the main aspect that I want to kind of portray. I don't want people to just focus on my personal life, because that's not really that interesting. It might be to some people. Vlogging is definitely one thing, and I will be maybe doing a bit more of that. But you have to ask yourself, why are you posting that selfie, or why are you posting this specific picture? Is it to do with your kind of, the stress and anxiety,
self-gratification, or whatever?
Yeah. So think to yourself, okay, are you just wasting time, or is there something actually you're trying to get some benefit out of it? And if you're not really, then I'm not saying don't do it, because Instagram is just a platform to post. But then think about, is that going to affect your
performance,
maybe your grades? Yeah, basically, yeah. So
I mean, Ed Sheeran did actually say those exact words, and I was listening to him, I think it was like before yesterday on this talk. He was on a talk show, and he was saying, like, Instagram, the reason it was built was actually for a promotional basis. That's the whole point of it. And he said a lot of people are posting, whether it's selfies, whether it's actually, in his opinion, which I do agree to a huge extent, is that just because they're sad, They want someone to tell them like, oh my God, you look beautiful. Because if you didn't think you look beautiful, if you already thought you looked beautiful, why would you go out of your way to look for the comments and the likes for people to tell you that you're, whether you're important or you're interesting or you're good looking, whatever it may be. Now, am I a typical user who posts their, you could say, private life? I am. I'm not perfect, definitely not. But I feel like the closer I am to being more just on a promotional basis and not so much on a private life basis, for Instagram, the better I am, which I'm not there yet for sure, but I feel like don't be overly obsessed with it. But for me, if I'm honest with you, if you're really, really serious when it comes to exam season, no social media, no distractions, none of that nonsense. If you're talking, if you want to be at the top, like if you want to really get to the top, that's the only way you're going to do it. And people have different methods. People have the more balanced. Some people, for example, they go like, okay, I don't go on social media during the day, and then in the evening I'll go a bit. Okay, even exam season, I'm different. I'm all or nothing. So when it comes to exam season, I am nothing. No social media, no going out. Like, I kid you not, 2 months, I would just do nothing but study and work.
Yeah.
But then when summer comes, oh Lord, bro, I am the complete opposite. I'm going holidays. I'm going out. I'm literally not even thinking about work. So that works for me. Find out what works for you. For me, it's like, I can't half-ass something. It has to be 100% in or 100% out. That's it.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's a good point. And just to kind of mention that all these tips we've given, all these things we've spoken about, is not to do with just people who are studying. It's to do with people who dropped out of college, dropped out of school, and are focusing on building themselves from scratch. It's the same aspect. It all relates to
this is like a life tip in general. Yeah, we're trying to tailor it for A levels and GCSE a bit because that's what they're doing right now. But literally any time, any position you're in, to be fair, any age even. If you go like, okay, you know what, now's the time. Now is the literal time. Like, don't just start focusing, do your thing, and then everything will work out, in my opinion. And just like I said, be wary of the whole burnout situation, because you don't want to for me, the biggest, because bear in mind, guys, burnout is not the same as anxiety and stress. Anxiety and stress, comes and goes, could happen every day, every few days. Burnout is like, it could last for weeks. Like, I can't, like, you can't work.
Similar to overtraining in a sense.
Yeah, in a way. And for me to prevent a burnout is what I do exactly, which is when I'm going ham and working like for 2 months straight, I go ham enjoying myself. Like, I study hard and I play hard, or play harder even, to be fair. So that gives me kind of like a recharge. Do you know what I mean? So if you go holiday, you recharge completely. If you're not doing that, if you go like, I'm going to work. Those fake gurus, whatever you want to call them, like, I forgot the names. Everyone knows them. Most of them are American, They talk about like, I was working like 24 hours a day and I don't sleep and oh, shut up, man. This is nonsense, guys. Don't listen to these people. They're going to make you feel like shit, basically, because you're going to always thinking like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not working 23 hours a day.
Wake up 2 a.m.
Like, even like Gary Vee, like, come on, man, allow it. Like, this is nonsense. Yeah, these lot literally scam you to make money out of you. That's why they sell you their courses and all that nonsense.
Do take it with a pinch. Do take it with a pinch of salt.
Forget pinch of salt. Don't take that information. Don't even take that information. That's my person. I'm really strongly against them, because they give you this false sense of like, because life isn't about working 20 hours a day and cutting your family ties and your friendships and your social life. That's stupid. That's so stupid. That's not how life works. Life is about balance. And I understand that at certain times, like exam seasons, you have to do, way more for work. And I used to do that. I sacrificed a lot for that. But then once you're done, go and enjoy yourself. Because if you go like, okay, now I'm done with my exam, now I'm going to work even harder, you're going to burn out. You're going to crash. Definitely. You're really going to crash. And it's going to come at the expense of your social.
Let me ask you a question now. And leading on from that as well.
Grant Cardone, by the way, that was the name, one of the guys, Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone. That's how he talks. And you know that guy, for example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You've heard of him, haven't you?
I've heard
that Asian-looking guy. My rich dad, my poor dad. Bro, he just talks nonsense. If you literally listen to what he's saying, he's just waffling in a way. So by the end of it, you're like, yeah, that's right. Rich dad teaching poor dad. Okay, and what's now? What do I do now? There's nothing. It's just a bunch of charts that they draw on a little whiteboard that they rip off every 5 seconds, and it's like, okay, buy my book, the number one New York bestseller for 10,000. Just get the hell out, man. But anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's good to have that strong views, because people do go overboard, and it is part of marketing as well. End of the day, they want to sell their course, they want to sell their get rich scheme, and that's how they make their money. But then, if you're talking about this burnout thing, so what would you say is kind of the best way to recover from it? Because recovery is important when it comes to studying, when it comes to performance. And I think a lot of people forget that kind of mental health recovery. You know, a 6-hour session of revising, that takes a toll on your body. You know, your mind is tired. You need that rest.
I'll tell you, for me, what I do. Okay, so regarding basically the like burnout, for example, I already mentioned, you know, go holiday, all that nonsense. But if we're talking about like general like stress, like, you know, today I did 7 hours of work. I want to relax my brain and my physical body. The best number one method would be to go exercise, because it's physical. You're avoiding an excessive amount of like going out with friends and all that nonsense. Okay. And it's not like looking at a screen again, because nowadays most of us study through a screen. So for me, exercise was the best, most effective way. So you're done, go do your 1 hour plus session of training, come back, you're going to feel refreshed, relaxed, and continue sleep, whatever it may be you're doing after. So that was my biggest factor of getting rid of it. Another way I think would be, you know, every now and then go out with your family, eat outside, meet friends here and there. You could do other things that you're passionate about to kind of re-energize that passion of the other thing you're doing. So for example, you'd be studying medicine, but you're also passionate about maybe, I don't know, drawing on Procreate or drawing by hand, whatever it may be. Go do that for a bit. Then when you're back to studying medicine, whatever it is, you're going to be passionate about it again, because like you've kind of took a break from it. Now you're back on it. But Cheyenne, I don't know if you want to add any more to that.
That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I think for me, mine is probably different, because obviously I'm coming from like a sporting background. And these are things that I probably used, and maybe that could help you as well, or help other people. It's something like a sauna. So sauna is great for your health anyway. So there's been research to show, and I love watching someone.
I can afford a sauna regularly. My guy thinks Joe Rogan. Yeah, you know Joe Rogan does a sauna every single day. He literally does it every single day.
He does.
Like Joe Rogan. Yeah, we're not you, man. We don't have a sauna in my backyard.
Don't worry.
But yeah, we'll
go join him someday. But yeah, literally, there's someone called Andrew Huberman, which is a great podcaster. If you haven't seen him, do check him out. Everything he says is pretty much research-based, evidence-based. And one of the things he said was, you know, doing a sauna like 30 minutes twice a week has a 27% reduction of, you know, cardiovascular disease or conditions, whatever. That alone just shows that you're doing this for your own recovery, but you're getting the benefits out of it as well. So why not do that? So just like on a week, I normally do it on a weekend, just because Sunday is probably my rest day. Do it for, you know, half an hour, whatever, after your training session. It makes you feel great. In the sauna, you know, you can do your shadow boxing if you want, if you're crazy like me, or you can do your stretching as well. People thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? Standing up on the freaking, you know, the sauna, you have the like little, what do you call it? A wooden thing, right? And I'm standing there and I'm putting my hands down doing a hamstring stretch, and these guys are looking at me like, is this guy all right? But yeah, that is for me is great.
To be fair, the points that I was giving was things that I'm actually doing myself. Now,
okay,
the only reason I'm not doing yours, I think they're amazing, and I think I would actually do them not twice a week. I'll do it every day, but if I can. So if you can afford it, for example, or you have access to it, 100% I would agree with the sauna. And actually, I'd add on even a massage. I think a massage is so damn useful, but it's so damn expensive in London. I know, because I've done it mostly when I was abroad. So if I can afford a massage as literally as much as once a day, and a sauna as once a day, I would say definitely do it. And swimming.
What type of massage we're talking about?
I'm not talking about the Thai one. I'm talking about the Balinese one, the one on the back. You know, we're not going below the waist kind of situation.
Let me add a point. We're keeping it straight. But one thing I do want to raise is massage. I've got something against. Huh?
Are you asking me about the specific like deep tissue massage? You mean?
No. That's all good. But I wanted to add on that I think personally, if you're going to do massage, think about what your rationale is for using massage. Okay, because obviously I'm a physiotherapist. I'm going to get a bit heated here. One of the things that I hate that people always, the claims that people make about the massage guns. You know, the massage guns. It looks like a drill, and you got like.
I don't like it, if I'm honest. And I hate it. I've got two in the house and I hate them. I'm not a fan of them.
You know, problem is you probably spent £100+ pounds. Some of them are like 200-300 quid, right? And what you're getting from it is not a huge amount, especially when you look at it from a research perspective. What are the benefits from the massage?
I don't find them useful. I think it's a marketing.
It is a lot of it is a marketing tool.
Marketing, yeah. Because I tried it and I was like, this isn't actually making me feel physically better, but like a physical hand massage was really good. Like I genuinely felt.
Yeah, that's probably, to be fair. Yeah. If I actually had to go for one, it would be the hand massage, definitely, because it's just more therapeutic.
They genuinely, bro, that your body is not the same.
Yeah, And you see it like Anthony Joshua, he uses it quite a lot. I think he's got probably a sponsorship. And I think a lot of people will then buy it because, you know, Anthony Joshua is a boxer, it looks great.
Cristiano Ronaldo, AJ, all of
a
them.
lot of people use it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they are getting the money from it. And I don't know if I was at that stage.
That makes it biased, basically, in a way. That's why people have to always announce if this like sponsored by a certain product, because then it could be a bit biased. Like me telling you, go buy this particular mouse. If I'm sponsored by them, that's up to you to decide, but it's more likely that I might be inclined to promote it purely because I'm sponsored by them. But yeah.
So personally, what I wanted to say was, let's say I was sponsored by a company who did a massage gun, I would then, you know, show them the right claims or what it does, because a lot of the claims that they're producing is not the right thing. So, for example, you know, it decreases muscle soreness and stuff like this, and increases range of motion. There's no, you know, sufficient evidence to show that. So it's, you know, whether it's a placebo or not, that's different. And if it works for you, well done, you can use it. But personally, you just have to make sure you understand the reasons why I'm against it to a certain extent.
I didn't like it at all, man. I preferred like real massages. I done one in Bali, done one in the Middle East.
You know what else I prefer?
Turkey. What?
Guess.
The stones, maybe the hot stones or something. I don't know.
No, I was going something different. I was going to talk about ice bath.
Oh,
yeah, ice.
I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that one.
No way.
No, I've never done
have you had a cold shower?
Yeah, I know how useful it is. Like, but do you know what? If I'm honest, in the UK, I would only do it if it's hot, or if I was in the Middle East where it's really hot. And that way, when I wake up, like I do a cold shower, it wakes you up. You feel like straight up productivity
in a hot country. Oh, it's the best.
But I don't do it when it's like really cold, like not just raining, but like let's say it's actually cold. I'm not going to do it because I feel like I could get sick. So I usually avoid that. Do you know what I mean? It's cold as it is.
If you said that to Wim Hof, he might let go.
You know what? Speaking of, there's a woman who recently, actually on the news, like literally yesterday, she died because she did the cold lake experience thing. Obviously I know it's a one-off death, you know, it doesn't statistically speaking, but like you need to be careful because especially people who might have heart conditions as well, they need to be careful. But I do agree the cold water, even the ice bath, I would personally do it as long as it's a bit hot. I would do it definitely.
I think you have to you also have to build up to it. She might have went straight in, got hypothermia, and that's it. But
that is what happened.
Literally. Yeah. So
the best thing to do,
personally, if you guys wanted to try it out, here's my method, right? You go to the sauna, so you need a bit of money because you need access to the sauna.
Cheyenne Hoff method.
Go to the sauna. It might be the Wim Hof method. This is just kind of my own
it's
thing.
The Cheyenne Hoff method.
The Cheyenne Hoff method, yeah. So you're gonna go to the sauna, do it for at least a minimum of 15 minutes, right? Build up your temperature. Then you go straight into a cold plunge or a cold shower, and try and stay in that for at least a minute. And try not to. I think Andrew Huberman mentioned this as well. Try not to kind of shiver, like as in let yourself
control your breathing, basically, and your heart rate.
Yeah, basically, and try not to like look like you're cold, basically. In essence. So
mentally, it's all mental. To be fair, to control yourself mentally, like okay, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's what I used to do when I get in a cold shower. Like sometimes, like I kid you not, I feel like my heart's pumping so because it happened a couple of times when either the boiler wasn't working, like it broke down, let's say, or someone didn't turn on the hot water, and for some reason I had already gotten ready to get in the shower and I needed to get that shower because I'm going out after. I swear to God, bro, because in London especially it gets really cold. The water was like freezing cold, and I get in the shower. I kid you not, my heart is pounding. I feel like I'm gonna collapse. I genuinely feel like I'm gonna collapse. And I start going like really trying to control my breathing, bro. But at times, I genuinely thought I was gonna die. Like I actually thought I was gonna die.
Because we're two Londoners, right?
Yeah.
I have to ask you this question. For recovery, if you had to choose one place to go in London, okay, you have to go to one place in London to relax, to enjoy yourself, maybe eat some food. What area would you go? What kind of what would you do? Where would you go?
Park. Has to be a park.
What's that? Oh,
it's a park, like for example, Regent's Park or Hyde Park. At the moment, probably Hyde Park. But if we're talking the weather's nice, assuming,
Yeah.
If the weather's nice,
reasonable.
Stroll, walk around Hyde Park, look at the lake, oh my God, that's so relaxing. And there's so many other things. Like I could go swimming, I could go to like a David Lloyd's club or something and just do the whole experience. That's nice, but nothing beats nature. And something nature like a park with the sun on you and you just walk in and that positive vibe makes you feel so relaxed in your like I mean, ideally, I'd go holiday, but if you can't afford holiday, just go like Hyde Park.
Yeah. No, because we're two London, I have to ask the question within London. Otherwise, it's just like, yeah, we can go anywhere. We can go to like Bahamas or whatever. But we should probably do a podcast in Hyde Park in the summer. That'd be pretty lit. Imagine we're just chilling.
I mean,
got the mic set up.
Would you? Is your opinion park as well? Or would you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I would say outdoors. Like the reason I said London is because we can easily go to the gym, but that's not really exploring London. So I would definitely.
It's not like that's like a daily thing.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like a weekly thing, like at the end of the week, I'm really like I just need something. Yeah, I think it would be like a park.
I want somewhere.
Yeah, go on.
Go on. We can say.
Sorry, go on. I was just gonna say.
Go for it.
No, that's fine. Go on. You go on.
Just cut that part out. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. I was actually going to talk about closing remarks, by the way, to finish off the podcast. But okay, I'll let you talk and then do the closing remarks. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Okay, go.
So one thing I just wanted to add in relation to the park is somewhere that I haven't been, but I want to go try out. It's just something called Sky Garden. I don't know if you guys, if you heard of that.
Sky Garden.
Yeah. Have you been there before?
Building.
I think it's like a building, like a rooftop.
I've been to it.
Yeah, I've never been.
2-3 times I've been to it.
Okay, yeah. I wonder.
Yeah, just saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I wonder why you went there, but we'll keep that for another day.
Here you go. I mean, on closing remarks, guys, check out the few apps and websites that we mentioned. Take some of our tips. Just see what works for you. Play around with different things. And like I said, if you guys are interested, by the way, in any particular topics you want us to discuss, especially with our backgrounds of medicine, fitness, tech, business, whatever it is, just drop in the comments and maybe we'll include it in the next episode. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next episode. I'm not sure if you want to say anything before we end this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely see you in the next episode. If you guys got any ideas of guest speakers that you want to see in the future as well, because we'll probably start doing that in the future as well.
We're going to be doing that.
Into the rhythm.
Yeah, probably soon. We'll just say
after
soon.
Exams and stuff.
Yeah. After my exams, we're going to start bringing guest speakers. Yeah, not that I'm not famous enough for you guys, but we just we want to bring some more people in. All right, guys. Take care. Thank you, guys.